Hey guys, Smiling Reviewer here, and welcome back to my monthly series, The Smiling Release Radar, where I let you guys know all about the upcoming movies of the month that you might be interested in. July is looking like a real exciting, action-packed month, and let's get straight into it with our first release of the month. The Tomorrow War is a new sci-fi action movie coming to Amazon Prime on July 2nd, starring Chris Pratt and J.K. Simmons. This movie has a really wacky plot. Basically, humans from the future travel back in time to the present day and tell everyone that they're in the midst of a major war against an alien enemy that they're beginning to lose, and their only chance of survival is to draft humans from the past to help them in their fight. That plotline already sounds like a bit of a paradoxical nightmare, and I'm curious how they're gonna make sense of it. Like, if a bunch of people in the present day go fight a war in the future and die, wouldn't that drastically affect how the future ends up turning out? But honestly, from the trailers, this movie looks like it's leaning more towards the blockbuster action side of things rather than the in-depth sci-fi side, which I'm fine with if it's entertaining, which it very much looks like it will be. I hope Chris Pratt actually gets some good, maybe emotional scenes to stretch his acting muscles a bit, because I do think he's a really great actor, but he's falling a bit into the Ryan Reynolds category of playing the snarky, wisecracking, charismatic guy in every movie. And that's no offense to Ryan Reynolds, of course. He's found his niche and he nails it every time, so can't even be mad. Next up, on July 8th, we finally have a new Marvel movie with Black Widow. It's been so long since we've had a big Marvel blockbuster, and this is one that has felt like it's always been right around the corner before getting delayed again and again. Black Widow is a solo film about our master assassin and Avenger played by Scarlett Johansson, and this film is set in between Captain America Civil War and Avengers Infinity War, during the time that they were on the run from the government, and it follows a story that forces Natasha Romanoff to face her dark past. I'm gonna be honest, even though I'm a big Marvel fan, none of the trailers have really wowed me that much, but despite that, I'm still really excited for this movie for 3 reasons. Reason number 1 is the fantastic cast. Florence Pugh, who was incredible in Fighting With My Family, Rachel Weisz, who I've had a crush on since the Mummy movies, and David Harbour, who I've also had a crush on since the Stranger Things series. Reason number 2 is to see Taskmaster, a really awesome and skilled villain from the comics who mimics different superheroes' physical fighting abilities after studying them. I think some of the action between him and Black Widow will be really bloody cool. And reason number 3, just hopefully a satisfying conclusion to the story of one of the original Avengers. I just hope this movie has some really solid action scenes as well, like Winter Soldier, and isn't too CGI heavy, but I'm sure Marvel will deliver the goods like they always do. After that, continuing the theme of badass females, on July 15th we're getting Gunpowder Milkshake. Gunpowder Milkshake is an action movie about an assassin who stumbles upon an 8-year-old girl during a high-stakes mission and vows to go against the organization she works for to protect her. But I'm assuming the pitch for this movie also went something like, hey, what if we made an action movie and just put a bunch of the most badass women in Hollywood in it? And someone was like, write that down! But seriously, it has an absolutely stacked and diverse cast of Karen Gillan as our main protagonist, which I'm looking forward to because I've never seen her in a lead role, so I'm curious to see how she pulls it off. But we also have Lena Headey, Angela Bassett, Michelle Yeoh, and Carla Gugino. And I, for one, cannot wait to see them all kick absolute ass. I just want the action in this film to be really top tier, fun, and satisfying. Give me that and we're in for a good time. But if violent action isn't your thing and you want something a bit more lighthearted but still high stakes, then you're in luck because on the same day we're getting Space Jam 2, A New Legacy. This one is about NBA star LeBron James' son getting kidnapped by a rogue AI in the Warner Brothers servers played by Don Cheadle or something. And of course he needs to assemble the Toon Squad to play basketball to get his son back. Definitely a weird take, but it kind of makes sense because it's a modern take for a new modern generation. Initially I felt a bit apprehensive about this movie, but I also realized this movie isn't really made for me. I mean, I grew up with Space Jam 1 already, and I bloody love that movie, and I can't even tell you how many times I've watched it. And if this movie can be the new Space Jam for this generation, then I'm all for it. It honestly does look like a bit of fun though, and also the nostalgia of Looney Tunes characters is almost unrivaled, and seeing them again almost feels like a reunion with old friends. So I'm all for it, and I hope it still maintains the heart and charm of the first movie, and isn't just the Looney Tunes saying memes, doing the floss dance and dabbing for the entire movie, because that would just destroy my soul and make me feel so much like our next movie. Old is a new horror film coming to us on July 22nd and is directed by M. Night Shyamalan, so you already know shit is gonna get weird. This movie is about a family on vacation, and while on vacation, they discover a secluded beach, but they also discover while they're on that beach, they start aging very quickly, and the infant kids suddenly become teenagers, and they seem to be trapped on this beach. It honestly looks pretty terrifying, but not in your traditional way. It feels more extremely unsettling rather than terrifying, and I think that's the exact vibe that M. Night Shyamalan is usually pretty good at nailing. M. Night Shyamalan is one of the few directors that is just so hit or miss. Like, I'm gonna be really honest, he's made some pretty awful movies like The Happening or The Last Airbender, but he's also made some really fucking great movies like The Sixth Sense or Signs, or more recently Split. He's definitely adopted the Thanos philosophy to filmmaking.
Look. Pretty, isn't it? Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
So, of course, I'm hoping this is one of his great ones, but I also just always appreciate his ambition to do what hasn't been done before, even if it doesn't always work out. He's such a unique director, and I'm intrigued by this movie, and I really want it to be good. Old also looks like it could be a very psychological horror, which might mess with my mind too much, so to counteract that, we have a great-looking mindless action movie coming out on the same day called Snake Eyes. If you remember a while ago, we got 2 G.I. Joe movies based on the Hasbro G.I. Joe toy line, one of which had Channing Tatum as the main star. Well, this movie, I'm pretty sure, is going to be a reboot of that franchise, so they can have a fresh start, and this is an origin story centered around the character Snake Eyes, who is essentially a badass ninja. I'm not too familiar with the G.I. Joe universe or whatever, so I'm not too sure what to expect with this movie, but man, the trailer had some really stunning looking fight scenes, so consider me interested. Also, I'm excited to see Henry Golding as a big action lead. I loved him in Crazy Rich Asians and The Gentleman, and I'm honestly just looking forward to seeing more of him in movies because he seems like a really charismatic actor that has a lot of potential. But yeah, keen to see some cool ninja fights and keen for some great popcorn fun. And to cap off the month with some more popcorn fun, we have Jungle Cruise on July 29th. In my review for Love and Monsters, I talk about how much I adore the adventure genre and how I think it needs to make a big comeback, and Jungle Cruise looks like it just might scratch that itch I have. This adventure film is about a doctor played by Emily Blunt partnering up with a riverboat captain played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to venture into the Amazon in search of the ancient Tree of Life. And it honestly looks like a mashup of 2 of my all-time favorite adventure movies, The Mummy and Pirates of the Caribbean. I think those were maybe the last 2 really good adventure movies we got from Hollywood that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm not saying I'm expecting it to be as good as any of those movies, but if it has even a fraction of the energy and excitement those movies had, count me in. I hope this movie isn't too slapstick and kiddie though, and has some dangers that genuinely feel like dangers. But yeah, it sounds like it'll be hard for this movie not to be a fun time. I mean, we got Emily Blunt and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as our leads, comedian Jack Whitehall as a sidekick, Jesse Plemons as a German villain. Cinema Screen is gonna be oozing with cheesy as fuck charisma. And that's all for the month of July. If there were any good ones I might have missed, definitely let me know in the comments below. I love making these videos for you guys, and I hope you found something to look forward to. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.